All right, everybody, welcome to Sunday Book Review, which this week is going to be Sunday Video Review. If you recall, if you watched the last one, I talked about that I was going to either do something about, I think, saddle fit or video. A comment that came in from one of the viewers said, books are great and all, but, I tend to fall asleep when I'm reading them. So what about any videos? Any video sets or something like that you can recommend? And I said, sure, I can do that. So this week, we're going to talk about a video set that, essentially this is going to be short. If you don't have this set, go buy it. There's no two ways about it. I don't imagine that there's any level of horseman or woman, that wouldn't benefit from this set of DVDs. So let's talk about them. This set is called the 7 Clinics with Buck Brenneman. Inside of the case is three boxes, each with 2 or 3 discs inside. They're broken up very, very logically, actually. The short story of this set is that it was done by the director of the documentary Buck. And if you haven't seen that, I recommend you watch that. Actually, if you're looking for video recommendations, I would say the documentary or sort of documentary / movie. What do they call it? Do they call it an autobiography? It says in here the award-winning film Buck, but I can't remember exactly what it's categorized as. I might put it on the screen if I actually look it up, but it doesn't really matter. If you haven't seen Buck yet, go watch it. It's essentially about Buck Brenneman, who I've talked about in the past because I talked about one of his mentors, Bill Dorrance. Bill's an amazing guy, a great book. I'll put the link to this book review down below, but highly recommended. I mean, Buck spent a lot of time with him and his brother and Ray Hunt and stuff, and so it's the same line of thinking. It's going on the feel of the horse. So the film, the award-winning film, covers his life and how he kind of got along when he was a kid up until, well, recently. I mean, the thing's about 10 years old by now. But from that, the director, the producer had so much extra material that just felt like it was on the cutting floor, and they're just like, wow, how can we possibly put this aside and not share it? And they decided to make a 7-disc set. And this is timeless. It may be, I guess, about 10 years old. I can't even remember. But I'll put that up as well as to when this was made, 2012. So not 10 years old, just 6 years old at the time of this review, because it's 2018. But this is timeless. The techniques and the ideas and the thoughts and the examples used in here can be used, I think, for a long time, a really long time. So this is not old in any sense of the word. I would bet you would have a hard time finding used copies of these. I would imagine that most people who would buy this would keep this in their library for as long as we're going to be able to have a DVD player around on this planet, or become streamable of some sorts. But the 7-disc set covers a whole bunch of material that they got, and it's called the 7 Clinics, right? The 7 Clinics with Buck Brenneman. And essentially it's material from 7 different clinics that he does, because he does them all around the United States. He's been to Canada, he's been to France, he's been to, I can't remember, I think he's been to Australia, but he kind of goes around, but mostly in the States. And he travels around pretty much all year round, other than a couple of months. I think he stays home and does his own thing. But he travels around all over the place to do these clinics for people. Very popular, always full. And so from those clinics, all this material was in there, and she just broke it up. They organized all the bits and pieces into logical sections. Now the first box holds, that's the last box. The first box, that's the middle box. The first box, 1 and 2, is about groundwork. So it's all about being on the ground. It's all about being with your horse on the ground. And he covers, I mean, there's so much material in here. I think it took me, I think I'm still working over it. I'm still looking at this and thinking, can I do a bit better? Am I getting this just right? I think I'm pretty good at groundwork, but this guy's a master. And it is a lot about feel, which isn't something that you can really get from a DVD, and you can't get it from a book. You can't get it from somebody saying it's all about feel. But you can grasp the concept, and then you get to see the concept, and then get out there with your horse, mess around, feel it. So groundwork, 1 and 2, 2 full discs of groundwork. It's amazing stuff. 3 and 4 is lessons on horseback, is what it's called. And it is literally when you're on the horse, what can you get done? What are some exercises you can do? How can you feel better for your horse and ride better and be safer, and to think about where that horse should be while you're riding with this as the basis. Because just like I try to teach as well when I have my classes and lessons, everything you do on the ground ought to translate into the saddle. It's exactly what he talks about, which is probably where I got it from, to be honest. But because I've experienced it so much, I just think this is exactly true. You've got to be able to take this stuff to here, or you're wasting your time. It's got to translate. It's got to be along there. And then the last 5, 6, 7 discs, more lessons on horseback, but problem solving. And they put in another one called Words of Wisdom. I guess they just had a bunch of quotes from him and bits and pieces that they just couldn't quite fit into these other ones. And it's just a lot of people have asked questions, and they put the questions in here. And well, what do you do when this happens? And how do I deal with this? And there's everything from groundwork to riding to trailer practice to all kinds of situations when you're out and about. There's a section on jumping. So, he covers a lot of stuff in his clinics, and, they're really, really well shown in here. If you don't have this set, I really recommend you get it. It's groundbreaking. It's probably a good way to put it. Groundbreaking. Because there's no other set that's like this out there that I've ever seen. Usually it's the clinician speaking to the camera, kind of like I'm doing now. Almost in none of these examples is he speaking to the camera. He's speaking to the people that are actually at his clinics. So perfect examples of what's going on. Perfect examples of how to solve it, the problems that have come up. And you can really use this visual reference, not just a book that you read and you have to interpret things. Very visual. So anyway, so that's my review. I'm going to finish that there because it doesn't really need to say much more than that. Go get it. If you don't have it, go get them. They're really good. All right. Well, thanks for watching. That's a lot shorter than the other ones, I think. So, off you go. Head over to Amazon or wherever you're going to go pick this up, because once you start, you won't stop. I'm not kidding at all. I haven't. So we'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you guys again next Sunday, where I will be talking about a saddle fit book that I've got that I recommend, because saddle fit's a big deal. Hard to do in some cases. Some people consider it a black art. Sometimes it is, but other times it's very logical, and you can really kind of just work through the steps to get the right saddle for the right horse for the right you. So anyways, we'll get into that in the next one, and I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching.